So much for that hot start. The Edmonton Oilers erase all the goodwill made up in the first 3 games of the year by, well, playing 2 games, well, even if you want to include that Rangers game, that are questionable at best when it comes to the effort, attention to detail, and of course, well, the results, right? So it is a tough go, obviously, over the past few days for Oilers fans and for the team on the ice. They have not looked like themselves whatsoever. I know we are used to that early in the season, and we should be okay with that here and now. That said, every single year we expect that to change, and every single year it seems to just repeat the same old problems. The Oilers this year, same as last year, struggling to score goals out of the gate. And, up until the final 2 seconds of the hockey game tonight, basically the Oilers had only scored 2 goals, matching 4 in 2 games, and again continuing this low trend of goal scoring throughout the early part. That is until Curtis Lazar, who answers Connor Brown's earlier goal, former team versus former team, scoring for the Oilers to make it 5-3 in a final for the New Jersey Devils. Friends, if you're new to the channel right now, welcome aboard to Dolynny TV. Glad to have you aboard here today. Definitely encourage you to hit that subscribe button if you could, as I've been struggling on the words all weekend. Too many late nights here over the past few days. Starting to catch up with a guy, I can tell you that much. So what we know for the Edmonton Oilers at this point is, well, we're 2-2-1 on the season, and things have got to start picking up here. Connor McDavid, now 5 games into the year, remains pointless. Leon Draisaitl still playing a ton for the Oilers as well. And the mistakes defensively and inside the defensive zone have been absolutely horrendous the last 2 games. That said, things haven't necessarily been the best from the Oilers in all facets of the game at all at any point this season. So tough go. It's just kind of baffling again year over year, right? We keep talking about being more prepared, more ready to roll at the start of the year. And for some reason, the Oilers find themselves, as every year we have this conversation about 5-10 games in, what the heck are they doing out there? And that's kind of, again, the case today, right? I wish I could be talking about all the good things the Oilers did, but other than Nugent Hopkins finding the back of the net twice on a couple key passes, really nothing much in the way of anything good to talk about for the Edmonton Oilers out there again against the New Jersey Devils. And the reason why this feels so terrible is, again, you have to go back to that New York Rangers game where it would be really, really simple to say, well, we won, there's nothing to complain about. There was a ton to complain about in that New York Rangers game, as there has been at several points this year already, where the Oilers are just not choosing to shoot. The Oilers are kind of overpassing. They're trying to find, and it was mentioned on the broadcast today finally, that they're trying to find that perfect pass early in the season, and the Oilers just have to play a little bit more direct here. So again, New York Rangers, as much as we won that game, there's still a lot that possibly you really didn't like. And then the Islanders game was just self-inflicted wounds that just, my goodness, that Islanders game was hard to watch. This Devils game was just as hard to watch. And for the Oilers, yes, I understand we're on a 5-game road trip out east early on in the season, a 3-2 record. If you win the next 2 games, tidies it up, things look much better. It's all good. It's okay. We don't have to worry too much. It's early in the season. It's easy to overreact. It's kind of one of those situations where there's a lot that you can talk about, and a lot of it by, probably game 50, as long as we're not majorly injured, will be absolutely meaningless, at least what we're talking about now. So that's, I guess, what you can hang your hat on today, is the Oilers, continue to struggle through the earlier part of the schedule here, but are 2-2-1 on the season, and at the end of the day aren't looking absolutely awful like maybe they did two years ago. But again, this seems very similar to the start last year, where the Oilers were just ho-hum. They look, Connor McDavid's always going to be angry when something doesn't go his way. We know that now. It's kind of been the storyline the past few years, but the Oilers really don't seem to have that give a damn that gets the job done. And I think it was What was it? It was game 6 or 7 last year, maybe even game 5. I can't remember correctly. That the Oilers had their first fight of the year, and then things kind of started getting a little bit better. And something I went through and double checked here today because I thought I was a little crazy, but I'm not. The Oilers through 5 games do not have a fight this season. And I mean, I don't know if the Oilers have any fight in them, really. The scrums at the net have been pretty minimal. Like that, there has not been a lot of hatred from the Oilers out there for their opponents early on this season. And I mean, we know what the guys that were doing that kind of stuff for us last year, what they could bring to the table, like a Corey Perry in terms of, riling up the opponents a little bit, and Evander Kane in the playoffs to some extent. But you just gotta at some point, and I mean, it sounds barbaric. You gotta throw hands. I mean, the Oilers gotta show, somebody on this team's gotta show that they care that much more. And it's just been tough to watch at this point. This Oilers team really not, coming out with the compete level that I think the fans should expect. I don't know if the fans do expect it, but the fans should expect. And again, like I said, the overpassing, the undershooting, all that, it just compounds itself when you just don't have that extra element in your game. And you can say the Oilers don't have any tough guys. I'm sorry, we got Podkolzin, and we got a guy like Darnell Nurse back there on the blue line. We got Brett Kulak, who, by the way, he is an absolute wild man when he gets fighting. So there's enough guys on this team that could throw hands and change the direction here early on. But the fact of the matter is they still are waiting to do it. So that's kind of the situation as I'd say it today, right? A garbage game against the Devils after a garbage game against the Islanders, and a garbage game against the Rangers that you won. Now again, I guess you could say as well, going through the New York area and going against some teams that maybe have some terrible ice, sure. But the Oilers, you got to stop being so lackadaisical when you've got when you got the situation with bad ice, right? The Oilers, how many turnovers in the past 3 games just due to not handling the puck with enough care. So that's been one of the major problems, is the defense inside the zone or on our side of the half ice line, just sitting there looking like they've got more time than they do, and then quickly realizing that they had no time. So some point it'll start all getting put together here, but I think the expectation that this Oilers team was going to be serious out of the gate, and after game 1 and 2, they looked like they were serious. They looked like, hey, you know what, we scored 3 goals in each game, one big game here where we scored 5 or 6, and we're going to start rolling. And then all of a sudden you've scored a combined 7 in the last 3. Oh boy, these Oilers just giving us fits every single start of the year the past 3, and well, will it continue tomorrow against the Detroit Red Wings? That remains the question as we head into a 1 o'clock game time. Again, matinees, I know, aren't usually the Oilers' forte, but at some point the situation does have to change, and that still remains to happen. So friends, thank you so much for being aboard and listening to me here today. I'm fighting through it. I need a nap here. It's been a long afternoon of watching the Oilers not exactly get the job done. So for right now, I'm up on out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your Saturday. We'll catch you in the next one.